Let me tell you something that no one told me growing up. You were never meant to lose your testimony. You were conditioned to forget it. Somewhere along the line, life, trauma, shame, rejection, systems, you started believing your story was something to be embarrassed by instead of something to be empowered by. Your testimony is your power. You've lived through trials, triumphs, and transformations. Your story is your authority. Let's talk about something foundational, your testimony. And I'm not just talking about the part you tell people. I'm talking about the internal narrative, the way you've come to understand your own life. Because your testimony is more than a story. It's your personal evidence. It's the proof of concept that you've endured, adapted, evolved. And yet, too many people walk around as if their testimony belongs to someone else. You've handed your story over to shame, to fear, to opinions that never paid rent in your mind. Now, here's the truth. Your testimony is your power because it holds your transformation. In philosophy, we say becoming precedes being. What that means is, you're not born with identity. You build it through choices, through challenges, through contradictions. Every struggle you've lived through, every lesson you didn't know you were learning, that's your curriculum. That's your unique framework for growth. And if you ignore it, if you bury it, you cut yourself off from your greatest asset, perspective. Psychologically, your brain stores painful memories with more intensity than pleasant ones. That's survival instinct. But if you don't reframe that pain, it becomes the filter for every future decision. When you reclaim your testimony, you're not just retelling what happened, you're rewriting what it means. And that shift in meaning changes everything. So don't abandon your testimony because it's uncomfortable. Embrace it because it's undeniable. You don't need a new story. You just need to tell the truth about the one you already lived. You don't need permission to grow. Stop waiting for someone to qualify you. Growth is your birthright, not a reward. You don't need permission to grow, but most people live like they do. They're waiting for some external confirmation. Some title, some applause, some validation before they decide to evolve. But here's the problem. If someone else has to give you permission to grow, then someone else has the power to stop you. And that's a dangerous way to live. See, growth is not a reward. It's a responsibility. It's not something you earn after proving your worth. It's the very process through which you discover it. Philosophically, this is rooted in what we call self-actualization, the idea that every human being carries the potential to become more than they currently are. But that potential doesn't activate automatically. It activates when you decide to step into it, and that decision isn't made once. It's made daily. Now let's talk psychology. The human brain is wired to seek certainty and avoid discomfort. Growth disrupts both. So your mind will resist it, even sabotage it, if you don't override that default. That's why growth feels so awkward at first. It's your brain trying to talk you out of your evolution, but evolution doesn't ask for comfort. It demands courage. If you're waiting to feel ready, you're already late. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a function of commitment. And commitment means moving even when you're uncertain, because you've decided that staying the same is no longer acceptable. You weren't created to wait. You were created to become. Pain is a platform, not a prison. What happened to you can happen for you, if you choose to reframe the narrative. Pain is inevitable, but the meaning you assign to it is optional. And that meaning, that interpretation determines whether pain becomes a platform or a prison. Most people get trapped not by the event, but by the interpretation they never challenged. Because I failed, I'm unworthy. Because I was hurt, I can't trust again. These aren't facts. They're conclusions. And if you can conclude yourself into captivity, you can reason your way into freedom. Now think about this. The greatest transformations in history, personally or globally, have come through adversity. Crisis is a catalyst. It either cracks you or awakens you. Psychologically, pain disrupts your neural patterns. It forces your brain to create new meaning structures. The problem is, most people create limiting meanings instead of liberating ones. They define themselves by the wound instead of the recovery. But if you're willing to ask a better question, what is this pain here to teach me? You open a door to a different future. Philosophers like Viktor Frankl understood this deeply. He survived a Nazi concentration camp and still wrote, "Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning." That's not just inspiring, it's instructive. Your pain is not proof that you're broken. It's a signal that there's something powerful inside you trying to surface. You don't have to let pain define you. You can let it refine you. Let's be clear. Your habits matter, but your mindset multiplies everything. People spend so much time trying to fix their routines, upgrade their productivity, wake up earlier, read more books, and that's fine. But if your mindset is still rooted in fear, lack, or limitation, no routine will save you, because behavior is just the output, mindset is the operating system. And if the system is corrupted, everything it produces will be flawed. Psychologically, mindset is your mental framework. It's how you process the world. It dictates what you believe is possible, what you're willing to attempt, and how you interpret both success and failure. Now here's the issue. Most people inherited their mindset. They didn't choose it. They were programmed by parents, schools, media, trauma, and never questioned the code. So when we talk about personal development, we're not just talking about change. We're talking about deprogramming. You've got to uninstall beliefs that no longer serve your purpose. Philosophically, this comes down to agency. Who's doing the thinking in your life? You or the unexamined voices in your head? A growth mindset doesn't just mean you believe in improvement. It means you believe that you are responsible for creating that improvement, that your thoughts are not passive, they are powerful. They are shaping your testimony in real time. If you want a different life, you don't just need new actions. You need a new lens through which you see yourself. Ownership over blame, taking responsibility, is not taking fault. It's taking authority over your future. There's a big difference between blame and ownership, and if you don't separate the two, you'll stay stuck. Blame is about fault. Ownership is about power. Most people avoid responsibility because they think it means admitting guilt. But let's be real. There's a lot in your life you didn't choose. The pain, the betrayal, the upbringing, the injustice. That's not your fault. But here's the catch, it's still your future. And if you want influence over it, you've got to take ownership of what happens next. Psychologically, the moment you place your outcomes in someone else's hands, you've made yourself powerless. You've outsourced your agency. You're saying, I can't move until they change. I can't heal until they apologize. I can't grow until conditions are perfect. That's a dangerous mindset because it makes you a passive participant in your own life. Ownership flips that. Ownership says, this is where I am, and I get to choose what I do with it. From a philosophical perspective, ownership aligns with the principle of radical responsibility. It's the idea that while you can't control every event, you are always responsible for your response. That response is what shapes your testimony. It's what turns struggle into strategy and chaos into clarity. You may not be responsible for what broke you, but you are absolutely responsible for building what comes next. Discipline creates identity. The consistent actions you take today sculpt the version of you who holds your testimony tomorrow. Discipline isn't about control. It's about identity. See, most people treat discipline like punishment. Like it's some burden you carry until you arrive, but discipline is the craftsmanship of your character. It's the system your future self is built on. Every decision, every repetition, every moment you follow through when it's inconvenient. That's not just action. That's construction. You're not doing discipline, you're becoming someone through it. Psychologically, this matters deeply. Your brain is always looking for consistency between who you think you are and how you act. That's called cognitive congruence. When your behavior lines up with your beliefs, your identity solidifies. So every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're reinforcing a deeper message to yourself. I'm the kind of person who follows through. And that message shapes your mindset, your testimony, and ultimately your future. From a philosophical angle, discipline is about virtue. The ancient Stoics taught that freedom isn't the absence of constraint. It's mastery over impulse. Real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like. It comes from becoming someone who chooses what serves their purpose, not just their mood. So no, discipline isn't restrictive. It's refining. It sculpts the version of you that can carry the weight of your vision without crumbling under it. If you want to take back your testimony, you need more than motivation. You need momentum, and discipline is what creates it.